Hi, Russell Dize, Vice President, Maryland Waterman Association, lifetime waterman. Well, I've crabbed off and on all my life. It was one of the seasonal jobs that I did. I kept my skipjack and I crabbed. We've seen a big decrease in the amount of crabs in the bay over what it was here in the 80s and 90s. Last year and this year seemed to be a few more male crabs, but really didn't, in our area, in the Tillman area, really didn't see a large increase in female crabs. Actually, we saw a decrease. It's complicated. There's lots of reasons. I think number one reason is pollution, probably. I think the crab business is still a viable business to be in, unlike the oyster business. But yes, because it's such a big business. I mean, we start in April and we don't quit until 1st December a lot of times. So it encompasses most of the year for us. If we need just that, we need a little to carry us between the seasons and in the beginning. People are still getting in the business. It's still a very good business. It's still a business that most watermen make the majority of their living from. I think that the regulation from the state and the new regs that they have on with trying to keep an amount of crabs in the bay that's viable for spawning is doing a good job. But I think that they could ease up. For instance, this year I think we're going to come up real short on how many female crabs we harvest, because normally in the fall of the year we have a big harvest, and in our area we didn't have hardly any harvest of female crabs. It was real low. I think that some regulations have to be, I would rather overcatch a little bit the quota and cut back next year than I would undercatch the quota. For instance, last year we undercaught the quota by 22%. Now that's just a number thrown at you. So we lost over $150 million for the state of Maryland out of that 22%. Now this year we may be that much again. To me, there's something wrong there. There's something that isn't balancing out. The state will tell you it's because they don't get accurate reports. It's a lot of big problems. We're trying to work it out with EDF in that program. There needs to be regulations, but also, for instance, when our guys are on 3 bushel limit in June, or 5 bushel, or 6, whatever it is, Virginia's catching 50 bushel a day. In Virginia, they catch 60% females. In Maryland, we catch 40%. We catch 60% males in Maryland. We need a little closer handle on how we manage the harvest of these crabs, because Maryland can't keep coming up 20-some% short. When I used to crab pot, I would go to 50, 60, 70 feet of water, deep water in the bay. You can't go out there now because so much bad water, low oxygenated water. The fall winds that move the water out of the places that the bad water exists before you can catch the crabs in that depth of water. No matter what anybody tells you, there's nowhere near the crabs there were in the late 50s and 60s. I mean, our guys used 4 coils of rope and they could catch a boatload of crabs. And now we have people using, when I say coil, each coil 600 feet. Now we have people in the spring of the year that would use 2 lines with 8 coils, which would be 4,800 feet on each one. So, we have to work harder at it than we used to. That's the way it is. Lost the soft shell clam business, so we don't have that to fall back on in the summertime to take some of the watermen out of the crab business. Our charter fishing is real slack the last few years, has been really bad. So a lot of our commercial guys do that. So that's kind of fell on the wayside some. So it's thrown everybody into the one thing that we know how to do, and we usually do well, and that's catch crabs. I mean, the whole culture is how can we exist? How can we make a living off the water? what can we? The oysters has pretty well been taken away from us. Not totally. We still got people that are going to make their living catching oysters if they want to travel down Somerset County to Tangier Sound. But in our area, with the new things that the state has done, we've lost so much area. We just don't have enough area to take care of all the watermen that we have that want to do that job. And without any shell program, it's going to collapse on itself eventually. We were left with the crumbs, and we're trying to make a living with the crumbs. Very hard. If we had a bad crab season, we'd be hurting really, really bad. I mean, there's 5,000 licensed crabbers. Not all those participate. A lot of them are license holders that don't want to give them up. In that number are a lot of people that may have lost jobs doing other things that were raised on the water and know how to crab. They still had license, but they probably didn't crab. Now they crab, they use their license to crab, which I'm not against, by the way. That's the way we live. We go from job to job, but I've been able to go to whatever job you can do the best, make the most money at. It's pretty hard for a waterman, but we will exist and we will survive.